All right, you ever been there? It's 2 in the morning, you're doom scrolling, and then bam, this sudden, overwhelming urge hits you to just delete everything. It's a really powerful feeling, right? And a lot of people think it's a sign of distress. But the truth? It's something else entirely. So let's really get into the psychology behind this whole digital disappearing act.
Yeah, that impulse, the one where you just want to wipe your profiles clean, vanish from the internet, and not tell a single soul? Well, you're not alone. It's a surprisingly common feeling. And here's the kicker. It's not about being antisocial or unhappy.
Actually, it's the total opposite. This desire to log off for good, it isn't a retreat at all. Psychologists are starting to see it as a sign that you're waking up from this digital conditioning we're all in. And it's a huge move towards something way more profound.
Okay, so society has this very specific, and let's be honest, often totally wrong idea about why people just ghost their digital lives. So let's dive into what I'm calling the disappearing act mystery and see if we can finally crack this case. So you've got the myth over here, right? People think you're running away, you're unhappy, maybe you're hiding from something. But the reality, psychologically speaking, it's more like you're deprogramming yourself. It shows you're actually becoming more emotionally mature and self-aware, and you're making a really smart, strategic choice to reallocate your mental energy. So let's start with the first piece of this puzzle. Why do the things that are supposed to make us feel good online eventually stop working?
I mean, the whole social media world is built on validation, right? Likes, comments, shares, the whole shebang. But what happens when that reward system just stops working for you?
No, seriously, think about it for a second. That first time a post of yours went viral, it probably felt incredible. But the 100th time? Not so much. So why does that thrill of getting digital approval just fade away? Well, the answer is tucked away in this fascinating little quirk of our own psychology. There's this thing our brains do. They are just brilliant at getting used to stuff. It's called hedonic adaptation. So that first little dopamine hit you get from a notification, it feels great. But over time, your brain adapts. It gets used to it. And soon, it needs more and more of that same stimulus just to feel the same level of pleasure. Until, eventually, the likes just lose their meaning altogether.
And look, this is so much more than just getting bored with an app. It's a huge sign of emotional growth. It means you've reached a point where your own self-worth is no longer up for negotiation. You just don't need a glowing screen to tell you that you matter.
So, realizing that validation is meaningless, that's step one. But step two, that's when you realize the whole system is intentionally designed to keep you chasing that feeling, whether it actually feels good anymore or not. And this is where it gets a little scary, because it's so true. These platforms, they're not just some neutral town square where we all hang out. They are meticulously engineered environments that use the exact same psychological hooks as a casino slot machine, all to keep you pulling that lever. The mechanism they use is called variable reward reinforcement. Here's how it works. You pull the lever on a slot machine, right? Or you pull down to refresh your feed. Same thing. You don't know if you're going to get a reward or when it's going to come. And it's that randomness, that unpredictability, that gives you these little bursts of dopamine that keep you hooked, endlessly scrolling, always hoping for that next little win. So when someone who's really self-aware starts to see this manipulation for what it is, their decision to delete the apps, it's not some emotional outburst. It is a calm, deliberate, conscious act of psychological deprogramming. It's them choosing to take their mind back from the algorithm. Which brings us to a huge piece of this puzzle, the cost. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about a cognitive cost. Let's talk about protecting what is, without a doubt, your most valuable and limited resource. See, every single one of us has a limited amount of what psychologists call cognitive bandwidth. The easiest way to think about it is like your brain's daily energy budget. It's the juice you have for focusing, for solving problems, for being creative. And it is absolutely not an infinite well. And every single scroll, every notification, every little trending topic, it's a withdrawal from that budget. For anyone who needs to do deep, focused work, this constant digital noise becomes incredibly expensive. You look at your mental bank account at the end of the day, and there's just not much left for the things that truly move the needle in your life. So, you see, deleting social media isn't about escaping reality at all. It's about being a smart investor of your own mind. It's strategically reallocating that precious cognitive bandwidth.
It's a conscious decision to protect your focus and invest it into things that actually grow over time, like learning a skill, building something meaningful, or just being truly present with the people you care about. So what happens next? What does life actually look like after you've escaped all that noise and reclaimed your focus? Well, this is where we get to see the true power of silence. This choice almost always leads to a philosophy called digital minimalism, and it's a really profound shift in thinking. It's where you start valuing your own psychological safety and your peace of mind way, way more than you value digital exposure. You finally realize, hey, not everything in my life actually needs an audience. Think about it. When you finally disconnect from that constant fire hose of other people's thoughts and stimulation, you give your own ideas space to actually breathe. Psychologists have a name for this. It's the incubation effect. It means your best, most original thoughts, they only really show up when things get quiet. You stop being just a passive consumer of content, and you start becoming an active creator. And that's when you really get it. You understand that inner peace doesn't need public visibility. You realize that your own quiet focus can lead to things that are so much more impactful than any temporary online buzz. It really is true. So let's just put it all together. That urge to disconnect, it is not weakness. It is a sign of immense growth. It's driven by you outgrowing the need for external validation, escaping the casino's manipulation, reclaiming your precious mental energy, and making that powerful, powerful shift from just consuming to actually creating. So, if you've ever felt that urge to just disappear online, maybe it's not a sign that something's wrong with you. Maybe it's a sign that your mind is just ready for its next chapter of growth. It's craving clarity over chaos and real truth over fleeting trends. So the real question is, what are you going to do with that realization?